So, well, I mean, just a little short of me again. I'm the founder of International Realty Group. The company is already structured for it's going to be 13 years this year. I have more than 20 years of experience within real estate and, of course, within the needs, and that's how all these companies came out. So, So a little bit more about us. We have our headquarters in Miami, and as Jengas mentioned before, we have offices in Istanbul and Mexico and Dominican Republic, and we are also opening in Colombia and Canada within a couple of months. So we do focus on real estate in Florida. That's where our brokerage is, and more there, yes, we offer commercial and residential real estate, but we are more focused on luxury properties. Okay. So before we go into what are the real trends of technology right now, I would like to tell you a little bit more what's happening in the real estate marketing, and especially in Miami, because that's where everything is happening right now. So Miami's market, it's been, as we talked before, within about COVID-19, for us it's been something very positive if we do it from the real estate market. I believe Miami has been rediscovered. It was only the few places was really open during this time. So we have a lot of visitors from everywhere, including just visitors from the US, from the north part of the US or the West Coast, that's the same. So basically, all these people were not used to going to Miami. They discovered Miami. So what happened is that now we have more interest and more buyers that we used to have before. Before it was more the investor, commonly known more from Latin America, more than from Europe. That was the majority. But now we're having, it's a investor who's buying a property more as a second home instead of as an investment per se. And try to go a little bit deeper on that. 2021 and 2020, it was a great year. To compare what happened at that time, basically, we had 18% of increase in closed sales on single-family homes compared to 2020. That happened last year, where 60% of those transactions were cash deals, and the average amount was $1 million. Also, the increase on prices was 45%. And reality, currently today, we have an active inventory of only 2,500. Sorry, I think there's a typo. It's only 2,500 property active right now. So that has decreased a lot since 2020, and definitely, we have 30% less than what we had during 2020. And that is just for single-family homes. If we go to the condominium units and apartments, actually it's even more. Just closed sales will have 80% more than 2020. And the cash deal compared to 2020 was more than 100%, which is a lot. And the average price is $660,000, which is also a huge increase from 2020, the prices, which is 41%, which is pretty high too. And now we talk for the active inventory that we have currently, it's 6,500 units available, which is nothing. So if we see it's 50% less than what we have during 2020. So the Miami market has changed tremendously. We have a very high demand currently, and that's because we're having a lot of residents moving to Miami daily. It's an average of 1,000 new residents who are just changing their addresses and moving to Miami currently today. So because of that, and this is one of the main reasons we have these corporate migrations who are just now relocating to Miami and opening new headquarters in there. So that's why also we have so many new buyers and many new residents. And I mean, these are big companies who are just opening now there. Now, just so you can understand a little more, we need to see who is this buyer, who is today's buyer. Uh, so the age, it's a key, just because the generations are changing. And as we saw before, all these new tech companies are the ones that are translating and relocating to Miami. So for this, it's very important to understand because now the internet is one of the key tools that all these buyers are using to search for properties. Now, if we see the age of the buyers, you can tell that basically we have millennials to silent generations, and of course the generation serves is with 52 to 56 years old, is the majority, which is 24%. And within those, we're going to see a little more that all of them, within all the home buyers, 97% of them use internet to search for properties. So this is counting from all generations. So this is where all these new trends of technology comes. So we'll start for the most simple one, which is the remote closings, and I think Jengis was able to explore a little bit into that. Remote closing, it's been something that we've been using for a while already, and especially in Baltimore, this is how we do it. It's very simple, and it's just two major components. One will be the online authorization, and the other one will be the electronic signature. So that will we have a remote closing. Now, it's very important to understand that online authorization is something that is not allowed and is not legal in all the states of the United States yet. So basically only 34 of the 50 states. In Florida, legalized notary like this on January last year, 2020. Actually, 2 years ago, 2020. So this is something that is important because for all legal transactions, for all closings, all the titles, they need to be notarized, to be recorded. So it's a key. So for now, it's simple because all buyers, doesn't matter where you're located, they're able to close a transaction while being present. So physically present. So how does this work? Well, it's very simple. The electronic signature allows us to be able to sign the contracts and to move along quickly to the procedure so we can be ready for the closing. Well, I think this is something that we all kind of know, which is in the contracts. Basically, you select your signature, then you sign. And then after that, of course, the title company, once received this, will prepare the closing, will verify that the buyers or the parties signing that contract with their real identification and through videos, they will verify that it's the same person. And then that way, they sign, and then same the notary will verify through video and identification that those are the parties signing, so that way it becomes legal. So it's a very simple process that Jengis already explained. Property Invest USA, which is our company, is the one that we use constantly. Basically, I can tell you that 100% of our buyers use this system to close their properties. Now, another thing that is coming along in Miami and Florida, Miami has become the tech hub. And of course, blockchain and cryptocurrency is taking over, which is also bringing a lot of new transactions done onto the cryptocurrency. So I'm not going to get too deep into that because that's another completely different story, but it's something that is just happening currently right now. Now where the real trends come, and it's that virtual reality and augmented reality, and that's how we sell these properties currently. Now, as we talked before, we don't have enough supply. So because of that, in the need of new properties, all these new developments have become with new projects to be able to offer. So basically, now we have more than 30 new developments in the market currently in Miami, so which is a lot. So in this case, us as agents and real estate agents, how can we sell these properties that do not exist? So the way I see it, we're selling a dream. because they don't exist. So I always tell my agents that we're not selling properties, we're just sharing an emotion. You are inspiring other people, okay? But how can you do that if we don't have nothing to show? We don't have a physically property to show. For me, you have to put the buyer in the property so they can experience it, and when they can feel that that's their future home, it's easy for them to make a decision. But for that to happen, when you don't have a property, then you have to definitely use other tools. And of course, this is when all these tools come very handy. And these will be the virtually staged properties, virtual tours, and virtual reality. Now, virtual stage photos is something that we used before. The good thing now is that we don't have to hire a company to stage the property, take new pictures. That will take long and it will be very costly. Now we just use the software and we're able to just furnish the property to be able to show the space, and people can really imagine the space with the furniture in it so they can visualize themselves in it. So that's easier, faster, and less cost, of course. So this is the way we're going to be able to have an empty property, and we're going to be able to show a furnished property. So that is just done through a software, so it's faster and cost-effective. The other tool that we have, which is now coming very handy as well, is the virtual tour. Now, the virtual tour is a little bit better just because you're able to walk through the property. So you can now get into the rooms and understand the layout of the property, right? And that's done through different pictures and different videos that are taken and put together so that way buyers can just with a click go around and visit all the rooms. So that's a way to do it, and also helps a lot, but still we're only using a screen, and you cannot put yourself inside the property, you only can just visualize it and see it, okay? Now, one of the other things that we're doing now, and I think we mentioned it before within the panel, the virtual reality is something that is also implemented right now with all these new projects. And one of the projects that right now is using it, it's 11 Residents and Beyond, which is pretty great because just you're able to be and put your buyers inside that property, inside that building, so it feels pretty real. And for that, I'm gonna show you, if I can, how should I do this? Okay, it's pretty real. You're able to walk inside the property, almost touch it. So it's a great experience. In this case, I feel like they're exploring more, I mean, you're using more of your senses to be able to get and experience this, this unit. So just with the virtual goggles, you're able to just, in an empty space, be able to experience this. So that's one of the ways, and it's been very effective. They're getting implemented in all these projects. This is something that within that pandemic and after the pandemic with all these projects, now that they're just using it just because that's the only way that we can show a property. And I think it's a little better than having these huge sales galleries, and a little bit faster as well. And now the one that I feel that, which is going to be one of the last, that I can really feel that is not only putting yourself into a space, but also you can really experience. So now we're using all our senses into this. And this will be the simulated reality. So yes, we have a sales gallery where we're going to have a full-size unit with all the finishes and furniture that you can expect on that property. So you are able to walk, touch, and feel all the finishes in that property. And not only that, you're able to experience all the views and everything. So in this case, a building that we have is a 100-story building, and to be able to visualize will be the best view for that unit. So is it better in the 40th floor or is it better in the 70th floor? So how can you really understand that? In a picture, sometimes it's not enough. So in this case, they're using this huge screen. So you're able to really walk into the unit. And while you can have your coffee, you're able to experience the different heights and different views during the day or even during the night in the same space. So that's one of the best ways that you can really put your buyer in the position, and that way they can experience the full, they can have the full experience of how that property is going to be. So there's no false expectations, or so it's actually a little easier. So these are the new trends that we're using, they're currently using, and it's been a great tool for us. Basically facilitates all the transaction. So actually going back to what the panel discussion and the keynote speaker, basically COVID for Miami has been very positive. And all these new tools, when we're talking about developments of the future, that's what we're actually experiencing right now in Miami. So, if you have any questions, I'm happy. I'm sorry?
Happy.
In 2021, you're showing the growth of 80%, and the price is a 45% increase you're talking about, no?
Yes.
So 2020 is a totally pandemic.
Yes.
Were you comparing with that, or pre-pandemic the price you're comparing?
No. Through pandemic, already prices increased, and it's still increasing. It's just because it's still increasing. So those are the percentage that we were able to get for 2021. So now we're in 2022. And what we're expecting is definitely very low inventory. So
no, when you compare with the pandemic price, definitely it looks very high. Pre-pandemic, what was the price? When you compare with the pre-pandemic and this increase, then
we were able to show you right now.
Because pandemic, everything has gone to, completely down, no? The real estate is completely down during pandemic.
Pre-pandemic was standard. Normal, was not a sales market or not a buyer's market.
So that we cannot take as a growth, because pandemic completely rate was slashed and came back to the bottommost. Then any increase, looks big. Suppose
it looks big, and it looks big just because we're having new residents.
$100,000 you purchased in property, it has become 50,000 rupees during pandemic, and now it becomes again 100,000. You say, 100% increase.
Okay, when I said 100% increase of the prices in these properties, because we compare to the year 2020 to 2021. Okay, so 2020 was through pandemic, right? And 2021 was just still, remember, in Miami, we didn't really suffer. Our lockdown was for a month and a half. So we didn't really suffer as much as any other, other states or even other countries.
What do you expect for next year, 2022, 2023?
It's going to continue driving. It's going to continue driving just because
same percentage?
It will, just because we don't have enough properties available. Mm-hmm.
Cengiz, he shared some numbers about the model, like how it would look in terms of rent and ROI. And he shared the model in terms of how it would look, rentals and average ROI per month. And I wanted to know, how is your model different? Like, what's the average unit price? How long are the payment plans? Usually, when are the exit strategies? Like, how long does it take? Like,
the average prices right now, as you can see in condominiums, it's expecting to be about $800,000. And what we expecting to be in the current couple of years is to reach out the $3,000 per square feet. So that's what we have right now. The prices are increasing just because we don't have enough supply. And it's just going to continue. There's no more land and there's no more supply. So definitely the price is going to continue driving up.
How long usually are the payment terms? Like, how does it work in terms of payment terms?
For these pre-construction projects?
Exactly.
Okay, so they all have different structure of payments. Basically, these projects will be ready within 2, 3, or 4 years, depending on the property. As you saw, I was showing you one that is 100-story high. For Miami, that's the tallest building. It doesn't exist anything less than that. I mean, the tallest currently right now, it's 80 stories. So that's one of the tallest buildings that's going to be built. So of course, that one's going to take a little longer. Okay. In that case, they all require different payment structures. So it will be, basically, they all will collect between 40 to 50% deposit within the time of construction. Okay. So depending on the project, the payment structure will be different. No more questions? Well, thank you so much for your time.